What's up, guys? I'm back. It's your boy Don to do my Real Housewives of Potomac Season 8, Episode 1 review. Now, before we get too deep into it, let's rewind a little bit. The last time you saw me was for Season 6, Episode 2. Fell off. A lot has changed since then, but we're back. We're definitely going to keep up with Real Housewives of Potomac this season, and also Married to Medicine, but we'll talk about that in another video. But let's jump right into it. So, of course, we start the season with what we all knew we were going to talk about. Robin and Juan. Now, for me, this Robin and Juan situation is interesting because on one hand, I can see and understand why people think that Robin is an idiot, why Robin is delusional, why Robin is still sitting around waiting for this man to continue doing what he wanted. But then on the flip side, I understand Robin as well. So just to kind of get into it, going back, taking a look at my notes, it starts out with Robin and Juan sitting down. You know, they kind of do a flashback of montage. They got all the OGs kind of telling this story with Giselle leading the pack. And then we get to Robin and Juan's house. How ironic is it that Juan walks in to talk to Robin about a cheating scandal as she's putting up wedding pictures? That's neither here nor there. We let Robin live in her own little world. So they sit down and talk. And y'all, this whole conversation, all I can think about is they're both trying to convince one another that what they're saying is true. Juan is lying. The story with the hotel receipt, I can't believe it. I won't take it. It just doesn't. Who in their right mind believes that? If the girl was talking to a Baltimore Ravens player, why is she calling Juan Dixon, who plays basketball? That should have been the first call. If that's why she was coming into town, truly, to visit a Baltimore Ravens player, why was Juan the first call? I digress. One thing that I also found interesting too was Juan made it a point to point out the fact that the girl from Canada, he stated when Robin said something about their story is unbelievable, why wouldn't you, go in the hotel room with her? He says because she was quote unquote, did you see her? Kind of trying to allude to the fact that she was an unattractive woman. Y'all, let's be for real. 90% of the time when somebody cheats, especially a man, it's not with somebody who looks better than you. 90% of the time. So we could throw out the whole, did you see her, so on and so forth, but that's not gonna work. Find a better excuse, find a better reason, find something else to come up with besides, did you see her? Because 90% of the time, that's what y'all go for. The ones that are lesser, the ones that look like garbage. But, Robin's believing it. She, even herself in that conversation, she's making every excuse she can for him, and he keeps reiterating the fact that the trainer, so let's make sure we understand. We have the girl in Canada with the hotel receipt who came to visit, and then we also have his trainer, his colleague that he works with at the nail salon. Two totally separate instances. To be honest, I think something inappropriate happened in both of those situations, but hey, allegedly, neither here nor there. I have nothing to do with that. I don't know. But Robin says she believes the receipt situation. She says she believes what Juan told her, and that's where they are. So hey, we'll take that. If Robin says that's what it is, y'all, that's what it is. In that conversation, Juan also says he was doing a good deed. He gives $25, $30 to the homeless people all the time. Juan, baby, that's not the same as going to a hotel room to pay for a hotel for a woman who you've been having inappropriate conversations with leading up to this moment. That ain't had nothing to do with the man on the street who asked you for something to eat because he's been outside for 3 days. Like, Juan, you literally sat in this whole conversation and gaslit the whole conversation trying to convince yourself that what you're saying is true, knowing you're lying. Like, give it up. It's not that deep. It's not that hard. It's not, just say it is what it is. We as viewers will be so much happier with Robin if you just say, this is our relationship, this is what it is, this is how we rock with each other, it works for us. Cool, what else can we say? What else can we harp on? At least you've acknowledged it, you know what it is, you've accepted it. But here we are. They're still playing the blame game, they still act as though they don't know what happened, and there's a lot of confusion. And to end that conversation up, Juan ends it with, I'm tired of having this conversation. Let's just focus on raising our boys. Were you worried about Corey and Carter when you was down at the laundromat? Were you worried about Corey and Carter when you were signing hotel receipts? Were you worried about them when you've embarrassed their mama every chance that you got? I'm confused as to now why all of a sudden, because the heat is on you, it's all of a sudden, let's focus on raising our kids. Okay, Juan, we see you. We're good. We understand where you're going there. Deflect, deflect, deflect. Make it everybody else's fault because you don't care what people saying. They're making it a bigger issue than what it was. Juan, if you weren't in these predicaments, if you weren't in these situations, we wouldn't have anything to talk about as viewers. The women on the show would not have anything to talk about. You put your family and your wife in this situation, no one else. Whether you're telling the truth about what happened or not. Again, as they tried to preach, and we'll get later on to in the episode, optics. You don't care what it looks like as long as you say you're not doing anything and Robin believes it. You don't care what it looks like to the public. That's a problem. That's a problem for your kids. That's a problem for your wife. And it should be a problem for you. Clearly not. But we'll move on. We get to the Karen, Candace, and Wendy sit down. First, let's start with Karen looked good. I don't know what she's had done. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what's going on. The wig was good. The body was bodying. Candace, cute as always, but Karen, and then when Wendy got there, Karen and Wendy did it for me. Chef's kiss. Karen's all black confessional with the gloves and the bob, ate it. Her first confessional with that curly hair, she kind of gave me Miss Puff. I don't really like it. I don't know what it is, but it's a no for me. Wendy, that yellow confessional look with the curly hair. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Love it. You know your colors. You know what works for your body. You're just a sick woman. Beautiful. From top to bottom, head to toe. Candace, you gave us the braids with the little bedazzle. I love it. You always give us a cute, youthful, little confessional look with the braids. If anybody can rock a braid, especially a braid top knot, it's my girl, Miss Candace Dillard-Basset. Anyway, we get to their dinner scene. Of course, they're all catching up. They're having conversation. Karen's there first. Candace gets there. They're talking about Candace is going on tour. She has to go to LA. She has a couple more shows to do. And then Wendy gets there. Now, we're going to go back to Wendy for a second. Wendy gets there. She starts talking. You know, she orders her drinks and stuff. And she talks about being protected and pulls out this rosary. Now, production, y'all not slick, because we saw from the trailer that when the new girl NECA comes on, she accuses Wendy or her mama or somebody from the trailer of doing voodoo or casting spells. Now all of a sudden, Wendy says she carries this rosary all the time. Wendy been on for how many seasons? Third season, fourth season? It's a third season? Fourth season. 5, 6, 7. So yeah, see, this is her fourth season. She came on to season 5. So you mean to tell me this is the first time we've seen her with this rosary? This is the first time Wendy has mentioned anything about her faith and her rosary? Production, y'all not slick. Y'all set my girl up, but we gonna take it. We saw the foreshadowing, we got it. And then they get into the Robin of it all, of course, which we knew would be the topic of conversation. Now, I know at the end of last year, especially leading, after the Miami trip, Candace and Robin were kind of on shaky ground because of the whole speaker situation. Candace felt betrayed. She felt like Robin and her were supposed to be friends, which I get that. What I don't get, and I like Candace, and I've kind of been teetering on this, what I don't understand is how she's mad at Robin for the way Giselle handled the Chris situation. That doesn't really make sense to me. Because as we all saw throughout the season, even whether it was a one-on-one scene, whether it was a group scene, Robin spoke up and told Giselle, she felt like the way she was pushing the story was wrong, but she was entitled to feel how she felt. So I'm confused as to how Candace has so much vitriol, so much anger towards Robin, and so much disdain about this situation. Karen is kind of a different story. Karen and Robin ain't seen it for each other since season 1. So when they go to beefing, to me it makes sense. They never liked each other. They've never seen it for each other. So when they get into their little spats, I expect it. It's like Ashley and Candace for me. I expect their little spats. Even when they're getting alone, I still expect something to come at any given point. But yeah, I kind of give Karen a pass for her and Robin's issues, especially considering in that Watch What Happens Live sit down, Robin said she was waiting on Karen to bring it up. Still thought that was odd, still thought that was weird. Why are you waiting on someone else to bring up your own business? That's not a valid excuse, Robin. You didn't want it out there because you didn't want to have to talk about it because, like you said later on in the episode, you're not throwing your husband under the bus. That's fair, but let's not be delusional and say we were waiting on somebody else to bring up our personal business. Like, if you wanted it out there, if you wanted to discuss it, if that's a part of your life you wanted to share with the fans, you would have. But I don't, even with Wendy a little bit, like, I thought her and Robin were cool. Like, I thought her, not necessarily cool, but I thought her and Robin had kind of got back to an understanding of we're not going to be as cool as we were, but we can be cordial with one another. Clearly, I was wrong. Clearly, Wendy feels some type of way about this Chris situation too, because she said she felt like the whole situation with her and Robin was Robin deflecting for what she really had going on. Again, I still think from that Wendy situation, Wendy did spaz out on Robin just a little too much when they were on that trip and Robin was trying to figure out what was the rumor that Giselle was speaking of back in season 6. But you can't tell somebody how to react. You can't tell somebody how to get mad when they feel like their family and their situation is being disrespected. So if that's what Wendy's still harboring on, so be it. Not too much from that scene. Like I said, we kind of knew once they all got together that it was going to be Robin, the topic of conversation. Now, I got to kind of agree with my girl, Karen. Robin, you are a bit delusional. Now, she did not lie when she said Robin's very delusional. You are, just a smidge. But we're going to get into that later, and we understand. I kind of get you, Robin. I kind of get you, girl. I'm trying to give you a pass, but you're dragging me by my edges. You are dragging me by my edges. We're trying. We're trying. So fast forward to Ashley. Again, this season, well, so far at least, it's only the first episode. I am thoroughly impressed with the confessional so far. Ashley looks good. Her first confessional with the curly hair, the little strapless thing, she looks great. She looks her age, she looks young, she looks refreshed, she looks vibrant, she looks new. Then we get to Ashley's new house. What'd she say? It was 4 bedrooms, 5 baths, 3,500 square feet for $2.2 million. And of course, Michael's name is on the deed. All I'm gonna say about this is, Ashley, you had a lot of mouth about Candace and her generational wealth, her mama's name being on the house, this, that, and the fourth. Yes, it's your husband, so it's a little different from a parent's name being on the house. But still, I don't understand how you had so much mouth and so much smoke to turn around and be in the same situation a few short years later. You let Michael punk you. He had you looking crazy in public. He had you looking crazy behind closed doors, and now he's left you with nothing but his name on a house. Okay. If it works for you, enjoy. Can we talk about that scene though? Dylan and Dean, Ashley not paying no damn attention. Baby, Dean was finna snatch Dylan's arm out that damn socket to get him up on that. And all I'm thinking to myself is production and this camera crew zooming in, recording. Baby, I hope somebody is over there to catch that baby if he falls, just in case. You got to break the fourth wall on this, because Ashley ain't paying no attention. Daisy ain't nowhere to be found. Dylan and Dean just in that damn rock climbing. Nobody said a word. Nobody knew what was going on. Ashley did say Michael paid the down payment on the house, and he does pay her child support, but it's not an alimony. Again, Michael is an older white businessman. That trumps anything. Michael's no idiot. You can call him what you want. You can disagree with what he's done on the show. Michael Darby is no idiot. He protected his money. He made sure that we can do this outside of court. I'm gonna pay the down payment on the house and I'm gonna give you child support. That way when we do finally divorce, I have all this on paper, what I've already done, so that's gonna take even more money out of your pocket once we're divorced and settled. You're not smart, Ashley. In the words of DDD, you're not smart. You're not smart. But again, this is what you get for having so much mouth about Candace being in a situation that was nowhere near as chaotic, confusing, detrimental, weird as this situation. And we end the Ashley scene with her FaceTime with Giselle. Giselle calls her, lets her know, hey, I want to have this conversation with Robin. I feel like she's going through a lot. I care about her mental health. And Ashley brings up a point. I kind of forgot about that. In the past, when she's tried to have conversations with Robin about her relationships, it didn't quite go over so well. Robin walked up in the restaurant, putting her finger in her face. Well, Ashley still had the restaurant. Robin was about it. Robin is Baltimore. Don't play with my girl. But yeah, Ashley brought a valid point. But I think the idea of the sit down sounds good on paper. We'll see how that actually goes once we get later into the episode, because we know these women are friends. So the questions Dr. Wendy may ask Robin versus the question Giselle may ask Robin are two totally different questions, layered differently, and yeah, just would have a totally different outcome. So we go to the Queen B, as a lot of people like to call it, of Potomac, the ghost producer herself, good old Miss Giselle Bryant. Now, I watched this episode twice. The first time I watched this episode, I couldn't really decide if I felt like this scene with Giselle and her new boo was genuine. Then I rewatched it again and I thought about it for a bit. She said this guy has met her children. One thing I cannot take from Giselle, despite how nasty she is on this show, despite how reckless she could be on this show, despite what goes on, she loves those kids. Those girls are her everything. She is a fantastic mother. Those girls are beautiful, well-mannered. They will drag her when necessary. So I'm going to be devil's advocate for Giselle. I know we like to say she fakes things. I think this was genuine. I think this was a very genuine scene. What I think is the reason why it may come off as inauthentic, Giselle is awkward when it comes to a man because the one or two times she's brought a man on the show, it didn't work out too well. Look at Sherman. So when it comes to having a guy on the show, Giselle is just awkward. She's not one that's in touch with her emotions. We all know that. We've seen Giselle cry 3 times on this show, if that. So it's not somebody, even in the scene when Giselle says something about, I haven't even got to crazy Giselle yet. Like, I need to see you. I need to see you. And Jason was like, does that actually happen? Giselle was like, no. I believe her. Giselle's not that girl. She's not that needy. Like she said, he lives in New York. She lives in Baltimore. They see each other every other week because she don't like people in her face 24/7. That's okay. I completely understand that. I completely get that. So it seems very genuine to me. One thing I did think about in this scene was Angel was the only daughter that was a part of this scene, which is very interesting to me. I don't know if everybody else is busy. I wonder what their dynamic is with Jason, because that was interesting. We got Grace getting ready to go to college. That's the biggest, plot line, which I'm glad to see. Giselle's storyline this season, Grace going to college. I think that will give her a more human feel, give her a more emotional aspect to her that we don't get to see typically as the viewers. So I'm excited to see how that kind of pans out. She says she took them to Dubai. Trip looked fantastic. Mind you, I went to Dubai in September 2022. One of the best vacations I've ever been on. All the stuff you hear about them, yeah, they got their rules, regulations, and things of that sort. If you mind your business, they're gonna mind theirs. Had a great time. I will definitely be going back as soon as possible. But yeah, took the girls to Dubai, as Grace gets ready to go to school. That was their spring break trip. They had fun. She said there was no stone left unturned. Camel rides, all of that. And then we got, as I said earlier, Mr. Jason. He's 16 younger than her. I guess now at this point, it's been like a year or so that they've been dating, dealing with each other, seeing each other, whatever you want to call it nowadays. I'm happy for Giselle. I'm happy for Giselle. I don't know how realistic it is for him to be 16 years younger than her. Not in Giselle's aspect, but him. He may still be wanting to be for the streets, But we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the rest of the season pans out. If he's still here at the end of the season, y'all owe Giselle an apology. What we got next? Mia. Before I even start talking about Mia and this scene and what's going on in her and Gordon's life, can we talk about this Edna Mae Bob? Mia, baby, changing your appearance ain't gonna change your wallet. For a second, I didn't like that bob at first. Then I went back and looked and I was like, okay, this is cute. That white confessional look, that makeup. You're on your 3rd season now. You know what it translates like on screen. Somebody somewhere got to do better. But I guess you're dealing with what you working with what you can, with what you got. Okay. So Mia, at the reunion, her and Gordon talked about how he was kicked out as the CEO by his brothers of their company, how they were living off their savings account at the time and things of that sort. You remember last season, Mia spent $60,000 renovating this house in Potomac that they were renting, that they no longer live in. Yeah, they went from this, 10,000 square foot home to a 15,000 square foot penthouse. Now, if memory serves me correct, Mama Mia was the one who had so much to say about a scholar living in a 1,500 square foot townhouse that her mama still live in and yada, yada, yada. My. Have the times changed? Mia, you step in your front door, you already at the back door, but you had the nerve to talk about somebody. Now, what I will say is, and this is something I thought about twice while I watched the episode. We like to call Mia a liar and roast on her for being a liar, but the more I sat and listened to that Gordon conversation about the business and what was going on, I think Gordon been lying to Mia about the money, the amount of money they actually have, how much control he actually had. I think Gordon lied to Mia about all the financial aspects of their relationship. Noticing that confessional when she said something about, but don't worry about it, I'm gonna find a way to get it back bigger and better. Child, allegedly, you already got it back bigger and better with this new man that Gordon said you up under because he got more money. Allegedly, that's what Gordon said. And I saw a little snippet from BravoCon this weekend where she said there's someone new in her life. That was fast. So, I think we'll see this play out this season. We know right as the season got ready to premiere, Mia and Gordon announced their divorce. So we know that was going on. But other than that, I'm not quite sure what else we're going to see from Mia this season. We see a little spat with Karen. Interested to see how it goes. Speaking of Karen, she did tell G in this scene that she wanted to call Karen to speak about how things left off at the reunion and things of that sort. Good luck, Mia. Once you cross Karen, it takes a while for Karen to kind of let you back in, and it's definitely baby steps. So we'll see how that goes. Candace, we got a cute little quick Candace scene. Candace and Chris go on their little picnic. Candace is talking about tour, how she spent 6 figures already on this tour, and she's not seeing any money back yet. Candace, baby, the music is good. I listened to it, got both albums downloaded. Got the deluxe and the regular version downloaded. Maybe we need to stop spending so much on the tour. Maybe we need to cut back on the tour budget until you see some residuals. You need to see something coming back before you keep spending that money. My opinion, just me. I'm not the musician, but let it go. Fast forward to the bulk of this conversation. Her and Chris are talking about, guess who? Robin. Surprise, surprise. And again, now I will give Candace this. She kind of explained it a little more in depth in this situation for me. She did kind of tell a little more where she was more so irritated with Robin and their relationship dynamic based upon the fact that when they were at the reunion, Robin didn't go as hard for Chris. It kind of like she backtracked on what she said all throughout the season when her and Giselle were in the same setting with the rest of the ladies. Throughout the season, Robin had no problem checking Giselle and whoever else about Chris. But once they got to the reunion, Robin said something along the lines of, can't we all agree that a married man going in a room with a woman? Something pretty much backing what Giselle was saying. So that part made a little more sense to me, but Candace, it still doesn't, to me, warrant all the name calling, the anger, things of that sort. If she's your sister, like you said, if she's always been supportive, like you said, the phone call should have happened before now. You had an issue with Giselle bringing up the Chris situation, waiting until cameras were rolling to bring up the Chris situation. Why did you wait until the season started to want to have a sit-down conversation with Robin? Just being devil's advocate. We got to play it fair. We got to call a spade a spade. Now to the end, the very last scene. The Robin sit down. Now, for starters, I want to say Charisse was the MVP of this conversation. I don't care what nobody say. Charisse is not my favorite. Sometimes I wonder why Charisse is here. She gets on my nerves sometimes. Her wigs always piss me off. Although that wig in that scene, Mama said, y'all talked about me all last season, not today. Then she pop up in that gold confessional with the Shirley Temple. No, ma'am. But anyway, all the girls gather. Ashley gets there first. Charisse gets there first, then Ashley. They're all talking about Robin. Robin gets there. So basically they're asking her, about her happiness. Is she okay? What's going on? Things of that sort. Robin still stands firm in what she said, but Robin seems to get Robin gets very defensive very quickly here. Ashley and Giselle both are explaining to her about the optics of the situation. And all she keeps repeating is, I don't care, I don't care, I don't give a F, I don't give a F, I don't give a F. Robin, you do. That's why you're getting so irritated and irate. You're embarrassed, and your embarrassment is translating to anger. And as opposed to taking that out on the person who embarrassed you, you're taking it out on the people around you who are trying to be there for you. But you can't tell nobody what to do. Robin's gonna do what she wants to do, and that's that. I do think, and this is what I was saying earlier in the conversation, what I will say is I think Robin, she's been with Juan since she's 17. She said that. I don't know if this is the only man Robin has been with, but based off of her actions, it seems like it. And that's the father of her kids. So it's a little harder for Robin to let go and move on than I think it is for Juan. First of all, like I said, she's been with him since she was 17. Bell's the father of her kids. Like, it's not just something that she's gonna wake up one night and be like, oh, okay. So Juan has a hold on her that most of us wouldn't understand. We haven't been with people that long. Robin and Juan have been together 30 years now at this point. They've been together since they were 17. Robin and Juan have been together for 30 years. That's all she's known. So of course she's gonna make passes, make excuses, make whatever for this man, not only because it's her husband, but because that's her only true love. She said in this conversation two things that I really could have just wrung her neck for. Charisse brought up the conversation. Robin said if she was fat, ugly, and something else, would y'all say the same thing? Charisse brought up a very valid point. My husband stuck his wee-wee in things that I never thought he would have. Again, like I said at the beginning of this, it's never about the attractiveness of the other woman. It's about the availability of the other woman. That's why they go. They don't care what she looks like compared to you because they know they're coming back home to you. So that was neither here nor there. But Charisse breaking down and making it more realistic, like, I understand the basketball wife. I've been through this. I know what you're going through. I get it. But that doesn't change the fact that this looks crazy. The optics are wild. That should not be something that you're having to deal with, especially this soon into this marriage. She still is kind of like, Giselle was spot on this whole conversation. I think this whole conversation was genuine because all of these ladies have been friends prior to the show with the exception of Ashley, especially Giselle, Robin, and Charisse. This conversation seemed like they were really coming from a genuine spot. This is the most in a bunch I've seen Giselle get. Like, she was very straightforward, but you could tell there was a lot of emotion in what she was saying. She really is concerned about her bestie, Robin, which makes a lot of sense. They are really good friends. It makes sense. But, in closing, the one thing Robin said that I didn't like was, yes, my joy is gone, but it's not because of Juan. Come here, Robin. You're married to Juan. He's the one in these streets. He's the one giving the viewers, the public, something to comment on. So who exactly is taking your joy? It's Juan Dixon. But great episode. The girls are firing all cylinders. We didn't get a Wendy individual scene this week, which is weird, but we got 8 housewives. So I'm thinking next season might be a shakeup season. We'll see. Curious to see what NECA brings. We see they already coming in with this voodoo talk and things of that sort. And of course, guess who brought her in? Good old Ashley Darby every single time. So we'll see how this pans out. Looking forward to a great season. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Again, it's your boy Don, and I'll see you next time.